Alright, we're doing it. We're talking about how powerful Blast is. But if you would like to get a better understanding of Blast's character and what his identity could be, feel free to check out my video, Who is Blast? That's part one of my three-part Blast series that I'm doing. This is the second, and the third is going to be out later. It's going to be about Blast's potential future fight against Saitama later in the series. But like I said, this video is just going to be about the strength of Blast, and we're going to be going over all of the evidence that we have along with some contextual clues. But in order to get fully into Blast, I'm going to have to go into some webcomic spoiler stuff. I'm sorry, guys. It's the only way that I could really talk about this guy in depth. So if you don't want to know what's going to happen in the story, particularly pertaining to Blast, I suggest you check out now. Hey guys, real quick, I just want to talk about my Patreon. So if you have a lingering question that you've been dying to ask me but haven't been able to get through to me in the comments, well, I do a Q&A video on the channel every week where your question is guaranteed to be answered. But the only way to access it is through my Patreon. I even have a tier where you can request for me to make the video that you've always wanted me to make. So over 70 people have already signed up for Patreon, and I'd love for you to be the next one. They all seem to be enjoying it so far, and I hope that you will too. Thanks, guys. So currently, Blast has still yet to be fully revealed in the series. In fact, we've only seen him in flashbacks or heard about him through exposition. But still, I feel that we have just enough evidence and contextual clues as to gauge more or less what the accurate power of this guy truly is. But that being said, I'm going to have to go into some speculation stuff to supplement it as well, and just a little bit of hype. And, you know, some people are like, you hype up Blast too much, Sean. Why are you always hyping up Blast? Why are you doing that? Well, while that is true, and, you know, I like hyping up characters and whatnot, I think it's fun. It's more so the characters in this series, along with the exposition and dialogue and stuff, that is hyping up this guy more so than me. I'm kind of just feeding off of that. And it's like, I think it is gonna pay off considering how much there is regarding Blast. Like, I liken him to like Madara from Naruto, because that was a character that was hyped up for years and years and years, and when he was finally revealed, it like totally paid off. He might have been even more powerful than what we initially thought. And just like Madara, pretty much every single character respects Blast in some capacity. No one has ever talked bad about Blast. Everyone either fears him, loves him, or respects him. So yeah, that's pretty telling. So first of all, Blast is S-Class rank 1. You know, that's pretty damn significant in itself, because like Tatsumaki is only 2, and Silverfang is 3, and then Metal Knight and King, they're not even number 1, but there's a whole different reason why King is, of course. But still, it's like, if he is rank 1, it's likely because he is so damn powerful that just automatically gives him that rank. Definitely in Tatsumaki's case, it's more so just their power that gives them that rank rather than the other nuances. And I think Sitch's little monologue from chapter 85 more or less kind of proves that, because when the executives are like demanding that Blast shows up and takes care of the Monster Association, Sitch chimes in and he's like, it's impossible for us to order Blast to do anything. He will only perform acts of heroism of his own free will. And he refuses to be bound by anyone, hates the limelight, yada yada yada. And yet, in spite of all of that, they have decided that he is worth giving special treatment. So that right there is like, wow. It's like he can pretty much do whatever he wants, and they're still just gonna keep him by their side just because he's such a powerful asset that they need him that bad. Because we've seen them even talk down to Metal Knight. We've seen them talk down to Tatsumaki. They even like, if she steps out of bounds, we're just going to straight up label her a threat. But not Blast. Blast, in my opinion, is kind of like how the UFC treated Conor McGregor before 2018. It was like, they can't let him go. He's just too ridiculously powerful and that much of a like significant asset to them that he can do whatever he wants, you know? So rather than just some significance hype, let's get into some mild power scaling expositional hype from Fubuki. So after Fubuki witnesses Saitama's power, you know, with the serious side hops on Sonic, and after he completely nullifies her Esper abilities, she's talking to him in his apartment, and she's like, "You're monstrous," referring to Saitama. But not like a My Mask and my sister. So yeah, a little naive from Fubuki here. We all understand, we get it. But then she goes on to say, and then there are monsters among monsters, like King and Blast, who stands atop the hero world. I think this dialogue right here is pretty important. So first of all, she's labeling Amai Mask and Tatsumaki as just monsters. But there are monsters among monsters, which we can assume that this is implying that the monsters among monsters are above the monsters meeting Tatsumaki. So King, of course, we the readers know that he is a crazy monster, but the characters within this series only relate King's accomplishments and feats to that of Saitama's. So they're more or less seeing King the way that we, the reader, see Saitama. But then she goes further and says Blast, who stands atop the hero world. So that means that in the eyes of the heroes and the characters in this world, they see Blast, at the minimum, as an equal to King. But she's going further and saying that he stands atop the hero world. So there's actually another hero who has hyped up Blast in a similar regard, and this is Child Emperor. After the events of the Monster Association War and whatever's going on in the story currently as of chapter 107 of the webcomic, he goes on to say that the adults won't come help, no matter what trouble I'm in. Blast, whose superiority I have acknowledged, and Professor Pufoy, Metal Knight, whom I respect as a scientist, they won't come. So yeah, we're getting some further S-Class acknowledgement here. So let's go further. Psychos, aka Giro Giro, has said quite famously that among all of the heroes, there are only 4 who would be able to face Elder Centipede head-on. Okay, so of course Tatsumaki, Metal Knight, King, and then Blast. So that's also grouping Blast into this crazy elite little pact where he's more or less in a league of his own. But Blast has already defeated Elder Centipede, which we know of, 2 years before the current story. Now, it's also stated that Elder Centipede was not as big as he currently is when we see him in Chapter 84 and whatever before that, but I don't think this is taking away from Blast's accomplishments. I think that was kind of more or less kind of like hinting at Elder Centipede's molting ability. But yeah, Blast just simply soloing Elder Centipede, regardless of how powerful you think he was or wasn't, is already one of the greatest feats of power in the series. I mean, of course, we haven't seen it, like I said, but still, he did it. And a lot of people say, well, he was weak because he didn't beat Elder Centipede. Well, we have to remember that he wasn't trying to kill Elder Centipede. He was trying to capture him. We don't know why, but he still defeated Elder Centipede by himself. The very same monster who just completely schooled Bang, Bomb, and Genos all at once. Like, they went all out against him. They threw everything at him, and nothing was able to get the job done. I mean, even in the original storyboard that one had for Chapter 84 that he gave to Murata before he illustrates the chapters, not even Abandonment Bang was enough to take down Elder Centipede. So that means that Blast, just by himself, is probably more powerful than a group effort of Bang, Bomb, and Genos. Just taking a guess here. So Psychos also name drops Blast later on in the Monster Association War, and I just want to put this out there just because it is something about Blast. I'm not going to get too much into it because, like I did before, and it just wound up causing more arguments than anything, but she says, "You sloppily formed your team without Blast and Metal Knight. You naively thought Tatsumaki alone could win this war. You started this game without the bishop and the rook. Though I don't think having the bishop and the rook would have helped you that much." Alright, so now we've got at least one opponent on Blast's resume, which is, like I said, crazy significant. Elder Centipede nearly killed him. It's insane. But recently, we've got more developments to Blast's resume from Chapter 115 when it is stated that Blast defeated the founder of the ninja village, who is also known as the strongest ninja in history. That's right. This isn't me hyping him up. It is clearly stated as him being so. And that Blast beat him so bad that he lost consciousness and went into a coma and has been in a dormant recovery capsule for the last 15 years because of that battle. So, wow. Just when I thought Blast stock couldn't raise anymore, we get this huge bombshell. So, let's try to break this down. Strongest ninja in history. Does that mean that he's stronger than Flashy Flash? I don't know. We obviously don't know. We haven't seen this guy. I'm just going to assume that that means that he is. At least at the minimum, this guy has got to be as strong as Flashy Flash. Don't you think it'd be like a little weird to just automatically assume that the strongest ninja in history isn't as strong as current Flashy Flash? But regardless, I'm assuming that this guy is also pretty fast, you know, because that's like the ninja's thing. They're fast. So does this mean that Blast is super fast as well? Come on, I mean, if you're going to be able to compete with any of these ninja characters, it's already been established that you need to have some kind of insane speed, or else you're just immediately going to be taken advantage of. So I guess this means that Blast is like crazy super fast on top of having some crazy physical strength of some kind. I mean, because if he's taking down our Centipede, I'm assuming he's got to be, you know, super powerful in some aspect, maybe strength, I don't know. But still, even if the founder of the Ninja Village is just an equal to Flashy Flash, and Blast beat him that bad, that means that Blast, just simply at the minimum, is as strong and as fast as Awakened Garo is. So Awakened Garo, we saw him go against Flashy Flash. It was mildly competitive in the beginning, and then he beat him down. But still, not even Awakened Garo put Flashy Flash into a coma, because it was stated by Flashy Flash later on in Chapter 107 that he couldn't move, you know, after the beatdown that he took, but he was still conscious. Could Awakened Garo put Flashy Flash into a coma if he wanted to? Sure, why not? But he didn't. And Flash did it to this guy who was labeled as the strongest ever. So just imagine, like, if a character right now were to fight Flashy Flash and beat him so bad that they put him into a coma. Especially after the insane performance that we saw Flashy Flash put on against Saitama recently. So I think just these 2 wins on his record alone are giving us a pretty good impression of how insane he is, and that the hype is likely justified. But if you thought that we were at a fever pitch for the hype, we're not done yet. We still got 2 more things to go over. So let's go over what Fubuki says about Blast in the original data book, the One Punch Man Encyclopedia. So, you know, all of the heroes and all of the significant characters get their own little page, but Blast just gets this little quote from Fubuki, of all people, and we could assume that Fubuki knows Blast because Blast saved Tatsumaki, so by proxy, she likely knows Blast just as well, or almost as well as Tatsumaki does. So Fubuki speculates that Blast is stronger than King. This is just doubling up on what we were talking about earlier when she's talking about Monsters of Monsters. So this is just straight up confirming that she thinks that he is stronger than King. Therefore, she thinks that Blast is stronger than the feats that Saitama has, at least the known feats that he has. Can shoot lasers from his eyes. So this is possible speculation on the abilities that Blast has. I'm not going to go too much into that in this video. I'm going to be talking about it in the next video, the Saitama versus Blast video that I'm going to be making. And rules over psychic powers and the ability to command trillions of robots. So I assume this right here is saying that he is just simply above all of the Espers and that they can't really do anything to him, similar to, you know, how Saitama competes against Espers and whatnot. And then, you know, rules above the ability to command trillions of robots. I guess this is just saying that not even Metal Knight has a chance against this guy with his full arsenal. But then she finishes it off by saying she hypothesizes that he could beat the rest of the S-Class all at once. That's like the mic drop moment right there. And I'm sure some people might be thinking, well, this is just Fubuki being stupid and hyperbolic, and she doesn't know, and, well, I guess you can assume that. But, guys, this is written in the data book for a reason. It's not just one just being tongue-in-cheek about it. He's been hyping up Blast the whole entire series, and this is just further hyping him up. And for all we know, this could very much be true, because, like, Awakened Garo more or less could have defeated all of the S-Class at once. I mean, in theory, we didn't see him go against Watchdog Man and Metal Knight and Drive Knight and all of them, but he was pretty close, at least at his peak power, to almost being able to defeat everyone. But now it's just straight up saying that Blast could, and we could just assume that Boros could do that, maybe? At least Meteoric Burst Boros could probably defeat all of them at once. So does this mean that Blast is as strong as Boros, maybe even stronger than him? I don't know about that, but man, he's certainly in the same tier, it seems. So we got one last bit of expositional hype here, and it's coming from our boy Sitch in the Hero Association. So let's expand upon what we were talking about earlier with the special treatment and Conor McGregor stuff that I was talking about. So after that, he says, however, when humanity is in peril and must be saved, he will surely take action. So this might mean that Blast deems himself strong enough to take out disaster level god threats. So what I'm going to say at this point is just my opinion. This is how I personally see this. It doesn't mean that it's true, and you don't have to get pissed at me because you disagree with me. But I think this might be telling us that Blast is legit disaster level god. Now, I'm not saying that when Blast shows up, he's going to get a little dialogue or exposition box at the bottom where it says Blast, disaster level god. No, that's not going to happen. Or at least I don't think it is. But I think he might be strong enough to take out guys on that level. Because, like, if he's not coming out for, like, disaster level dragon or something super powerful, he's only going to come out for when the Hero Association broadcasts to the world that this is a disaster level god threat. And Blast is like, alright, I'm strong enough, I have to do this because I know that the other S-Class heroes aren't capable of taking down a threat of this magnitude. So, maybe it means that he is that powerful, maybe it doesn't. I'm just throwing some stuff out here, this is how I see it. I mean, don't you think someone who is speculated to be able to take out all of the S-Class at once could probably be on that level? But regardless, what I estimate his real disaster level to be is at the minimum above Dragon. I mean, come on. There's no way that he's not an above Dragon based off of him just taking down Outer Centipede and the strongest ninja in history. But then it could go all the way to disaster level god, like I said. But yeah, so that's how I see Blast. He's insane. He's number one for a reason, and there's no other hero besides Saitama that is as strong as him. But as for how I see his fight against Saitama possibly going, well, you're going to have to wait for my next video on this subject. But if you like this one, please give it a like, guys. Let me know what you think about Blast in the comments. How powerful do you think he is? And do you even think that the hype is justified? But yeah, I have that Patreon, and if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day, everyone. I'll see you in the next one.